Tabitha Brown and her husband Chance recently went on their YouTube channel to talk about temptation and how it affected their marriage. And in this episode, we're going to look at how temptation can affect not only just the single people, but those that are married as well. And we'll also look at how Tabitha Brown and her husband overcame this temptation, and it actually made their marriage so much stronger. Check this video out.
Be like that. Now, Tab mentioned something that I can honestly say in the topic of temptation that I do think is something that I not that I was affected by. So because you have access to things, now you got new relationships, you got new you got new money. You got new money. I always hate saying certain words. I don't like saying, y'all. I'm still uncomfortable with. I'm still
new money, celebrity. I
don't like them words.
I don't mind new money, but
I mean I do, but it's just I don't know. I don't like it. But sometimes having access to those things you will be tempted to venture into things that you have no business venturing in, or that you have not done the work yet to be able to be successful in those business ventures. And that could be any kind of business. I have been tempted in that way to be like, man, I want to get into that, right? And solely because of that, I know the people, I got the money, right? And that does apply for a certain kind of person in this world. They can do that, but I had to remember who I am. I don't just like doing something. I want to thrive in it. I've always been the kind of person that wants to be the best in whatever I do. And sometimes just with those two things, you can't be that. So in temptation, in that, if you define it in that way, just in that, and then too with I love Jordans, I love sneakers, and I can get a lot out of hand with that, right? But
I think another back to people. Thank you too. Temptation. There can be a temptation to be friends with somebody who doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
Right.
Relationships.
Right, because especially when you get to a certain place, right? Now, like you said, we don't like to say celebrity, but you may have admired certain people, whether they be basketball players or actors, producers, whatever, for years, like you were a fan of theirs.
Man.
And now these people want to actually be your friend. They want to like come over or hang out with you. That's very tempting. But you gotta also make sure that y'all's life are in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, I wanna be friends with, such and such. But then you gotta step back and make sure that with that friendship, knowing what I know about them, or how they move, or, are they married? Are they in a relationship? Do they value marriage?
What you think?
Yeah, I like where you ended it. I like how she said, do they value marriage? Because regardless if they're single or married, because I got single friends, I got married friends, I got divorced friends, friends engaged, friends just chilling, but at the end of the day, it's like, do they value marriage? But I also like how they're touching on, which I can't imagine. I have not even met that many famous people.
Yeah.
I've learned where to place them though, because the one time I did meet a famous person, I was not saved yet, and so I lost it. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like, oh my gosh. I'm not gonna say who it was, because that's gonna take us on a tangent.
Was it Usher?
No, it actually was not a guy.
Oh.
I ain't met no famous man.
Lil' Kim?
I don't know. No, that's so random. Why would I be emotional about meeting Lil' Kim? Anyways, because we're not gonna figure that out.
But that's important. Like you shouldn't idolize celebrities, because at the end of the day, they're people.
Yes, and I like how even at the sermon that, because today is a Sunday, I'm gonna just say that, but he even mentioned, it's like, or somebody mentioned today how we do all of that hooping, that hollering, that crying. That person does not even know who you are.
They don't.
But when it comes to worshiping Jesus, we're standing still.
We're
We don't
quiet.
want to move. Somebody on a stage has to get us to show any enthusiasm when Jesus knew you before you were even in your mother's womb. But when we ain't gonna say no names because we know who everybody like.
Listen, when you go to them Usher concerts, when you go to them
Go, you say
Nicki Minaj concerts, when you go to them,
we not standing still.
no,
I guarantee we not. They ain't gotta hype us up. They ain't gotta say nothing.
nope.
Shoot, may he rest in peace. Michael Jackson stood on the stage for I don't know how long, and people
was
were
falling
falling out
Like they was carrying him on
for
the
a
stretchers.
man who did not know them.
Chris Brown could never.
Okay. See, that's why I didn't want to mention names. But I do appreciate them saying, like, and that in itself takes wisdom
Yeah.
and maturity. Because I can't imagine, and the Lord be knowing who to make famous and who not. Like,
Yeah.
because you get up there and you meet these people, I can see it being so easy to say, oh, let's hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And like she's saying, but you know their track record. You can tell by what you've seen that they don't value marriage,
Yeah.
that they live a different lifestyle than you. You see time and time again, anyone who is just starting out or who's getting a little clout, or say you got a brand, you want certain people to wear it. But it's like, imagine having that level of maturity and that level of fear of God of like, hey, I don't want just anybody wearing it though. Or I don't want to just be partnering with anybody just to get my name there. Just to get to this certain stature, this certain place, when I can end up risking my integrity, my character. Chance said a couple of minutes ago, it's like they're known for family and love and and that type of stuff. So it's like it's certain places or certain people within
That
the
they wouldn't hang
celebrity
out with.
realm. I have somebody in mind that they're not going to frequent with or
Right.
have in their midst, because it's like that doesn't even represent what they're representing.
Right.
You got to look at everything before you decide, oh, I'm going to just take on some, new friends because I'm tempted by what I see, right? I think that plays a huge role in a lot of relationship downfalls because you don't look past the temptation, right? You don't look at like the big picture. And so I think for us, a lot of times we've been excited about people like, hey, they know us, right? They want to hang out. And then it's like, wait a minute, let's make sure that, we feel the same way. And then a lot of times it'll die out.
Feel the same way for the right reasons.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a major thing. And a lot of times we also got to remember, going back to what he said when it comes to us being tempted, like, is it worth losing everything you've worked for? Like, we done got to this place.
Man.
It's like, is it worth it? Right? So you got to look at everything. I think, and I don't want to confuse temptation with, I don't know if admiration is the word, because he's a man and I'm a woman. So, and we jokingly can do this, like we can be out and see somebody like, oh, she's beautiful, right? He ain't gonna say no man's handsome, but he'll be like, hey, that brother put together. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he's squared away right there. That boy shot right there,
Right.
Those are natural things to admire, someone's outer appearance, but that's not temptation. And I think sometimes, depending on your track record, yours might be temptation. You might be on that admiration break right now. You might not be able to do that. But we, 26 years, have been through so many things that we're at a place in our relationship where we can comfortably talk about just about anything and do that. You know what I'm saying? Have that kind of conversation. But I think it goes back to the values, what we've built together. And ain't nobody else getting the life that we got. Baby, this 26 years, we can put this thing in together. Like, ain't no temptation finna
Ain't gonna
tear
happen.
this up. Like it's just not gonna. We're just not doing it, right? But I think back to the point of shopping temptation or spending temptation.
Yeah.
I use discernment. Shopping one thing. That's a little different. I don't really be shopping like that.
We ain't gonna tell the truth.
Huh? It ain't really shopping.
We,
What I do, I acquire the things the Lord said I could have.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
All right.
Oh, yeah. And shopping is more like, grocery store and stuff. When I purchase a bag or some shoes and stuff, the Lord has brought me there. The second part of that said, how do you get back focused? Stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
See? But I will say, when it comes to investing, like the temptation, I am very much so a gambler. Chance is not, unless he's in Vegas, but even then he's very moderate. He is my balance to help me fight the temptation to be like, hey man, maybe we should invest a little extra. He be like, babe, we staying safe. We not doing that. And I'd be like, okay. But there's like a little bit of money that might be mine that I can play with. And he be like, you can do that with your, you go ahead. But this money that we got for us, and we gonna retire and do all this with, this gonna stay right here. I think that's a healthy temptation, if that's a thing, as long as you still having the conversations. If success had came that early, the temptation for me would have been, I'm more tempted to leave because I know I can survive on my own.
Yeah.
Right? There were times that we stayed together because we couldn't survive without each other. This is the truth. It won't love, it won't, it was like, dang, I can't afford to leave. We're gonna have to work it out.
We stuck.
And throughout that time, we just fell back in love.
Yeah.
But there were times when we absolutely were not in love with each other. We loved each other, but being in love is completely different.
Yes.
There were times we did not like each other. There were times that you wouldn't even know we was married.
Yep. Walking by each other.
This is the real part of marriage that
Don't nobody want to talk about?
don't nobody want to talk about. Because because you think that when you get to the altar that everything will be just like it is on your wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing that after you say I do, then that's when the trials and tribulations come.
That's when you really say I do.
That's when you
After
really
you
say
I do. It's when you really say I do.
It's at times when your marriage is tested that you really are put to the test and say, did you really say I do?
Mm-hmm.
Did you really mean what you
Did
said?
you really mean what you say?
For sickness or in health,
Mm-hmm.
for
For
rich or for
for
poor,
Mm-hmm.
for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we only look at the health, rich, better.
Yeah.
We only look
You
at
don't hear the other part.
we don't hear the
Just sound good.
sick, poor, worse.
We don't be there for that worse.
No.
Yeah.
And then like you said, love is not something that you say or you feel.
Yeah, or something that it's not something that you fall into. Love is a choice.
You choose it every single day.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Just like God chose to love us by sacrificing
Exactly.
his son for
because
us.
here's the thing. The cross ain't feel good.
No.
The cross did not feel good.
What's that song? How's that song go? It wasn't the nails that kept them on that cross.
Okay?
It was love itself.
Literally. Okay.
And if we're supposed to be, the mystery or the reflection of Christ in his church, how much more should we show that same love to one another? So marriage is not the feeling, or love is not the feeling. It's the doing.
Yeah.
Love is what you do, not what you feel.
And that's why when you look at Corinthians, or when Paul mentioned marriage, Ephesians, but when he mentioned marriage, and then he said it's a great mystery because he didn't compare it to Christ in the church, because he was like, Christ laid down his life for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a reminder to us, and it's not just on the husband. That sacrifice, that willingness to die to yourself, that is mandatory for a marriage to survive, for a kingdom marriage. Here's the thing. We talking about kingdom marriages.
Yeah.
Because there are marriages that survive, but they're not surviving to the glory of God. They're just, out here. But when it comes to a kingdom marriage, we are to reflect Christ in the church.
Yep.
There is sacrifice involved in that.
Yep.
There is bloodshed involved in that, meaning that you have to die.
To
It is no
yourself.
longer all about you and what you want and how you want to feel in a certain moment and you being overtaken by those things, but it's you literally laying yourself down. Both of y'all.
Lay it down.
Like, you literally got to lay it down. Like, you got to lay yourself down. And the only person that can live in your marriage is Christ.
Lay your head.
Yeah, no. The only person that can live in your marriage, if you want a successful marriage, if you want a healthy marriage, if you want a kingdom marriage, the only one that can live is Christ.
Yeah. That's good. We can wrap it there. Yeah. So with that being said, this was such a good video on just pointing out the realness and the rawness of marriage and temptations and how it affects you on both sides.
Yeah, because I like how where we started at was her saying if she would have, because we all know her now, right? Because God has blessed her.
Yep.
And she's reached a level of success. But she was saying if that success would have come earlier on,
then she would have been tempted to leave. Because she didn't have that maturity to stay.
And so we really do, regardless of what season you find yourself in, when you watch this video, just know that God is very wise.
Yeah.
And certain things could be moving a certain way or not moving a certain way because God knows what you can handle, right? Yeah. He knows what your character can truly sustain.
Yeah.
And so the goal, I would say for anyone who does watch, and may the Lord bless you, the goal will be, Lord, purify me and perfect my character in you.
Yeah.
So that I do have a character that can sustain and a character that can actually bring you glory in the season that I'm believing you for. Yeah.
That's good. Check out our video that we did previously where we looked at Jackie Hill Perry and Megan Ashley. Is really popular where they talk about, sex and sexuality and how all those things play in us. How all those things play in us fighting against the flesh. Mm-hmm. And they did an excellent job just speaking on how all that affects us in dating. Go check that video out. Also, check out another video that YouTube recommends that they think that you should watch. Go ahead and check that out and go out there and make today meaningful. Peace.